We're covering Colorado first and elevating Black voices on CBS News Colorado. I'm Tori Mason.
And I'm Justin Adams.
Through civic leadership and service, business, and artistic ingenuity, African Americans have played a pivotal role in the development of Colorado and the American West.
We're excited to shine the light on the contributions to Black Coloradans to our economy, culture, and our shared history.
We start by digging into the cuisine known as soul food, what it is and how it became the mouth-watering favorite we know today. For many Coloradans, soul food brings a sense of comfort, home, and history.
You know, when you come from church on a Sunday morning, you want to eat.
A fish should swim twice, once in the water and once in the oil.
One catfish, one fish fillet.
Food is the gateway to culture. It brings you home without getting on a flight.
Candied yams, greens, all traditional.
Flavor tells the story of people we don't often get to meet.
They have Kool-Aid?
Oh, great Kool-Aid.
We miss it, we crave it, and when it's in our reach, we don't hold back.
I could use a fork, but I don't need to.
At least I don't. And with every crumb is a taste of pride, and every bite a story many don't know.
This traditional soul food is how you make it. There's no shortcuts.
Greens, beans, fish, yams, you name it, Priscilla Smith has it cooking at Cora Faye's. She's got mouths full at every table.
It tastes like mother's cooking on a Sunday morning.
And she has hearts full when they leave.
And a lot of them say, well, I'm from the South, and I know how food's supposed to taste. I said, well, sit down and buckle up, then. We're going to feed you.
Remember the stereotype of Black people and fried chicken? Today, we see fried chicken, or is it breaded, at upscale restaurants. And all races love it, but soul food wasn't always trendy.
Some people think of soul food as slave food, or the white man's garbage, or the things that white people didn't want.
Adrian Miller isn't just a soul food lover. He's a soul food scholar. The James Beard Award-winning author dived into the complicated history of the cuisine many of us love. And it's not as savory as it looks.
So the idea was that white people took all of the prime parts, the shoulders and the hams and the other things, and they gave the enslaved the rest, you know, the organs, the chitlins, and all that kind of stuff.
Don't get me wrong, a lot of people still eat frog legs and stuff you don't usually see on the menu.
I mean, is there anything you won't eat?
Pig ears.
Yeah.
But over time, what was once seen as plantation food evolved into brunch favorites. And I'm not just talking about chicken and waffles.
You go to a Black restaurant, pig's feet would be, what, $8, $9? But now, if you go to a fine dining white tablecloth restaurant and call pig's feet trotters, you pay $30 for them.
$30 for pig's feet is nothing compared to the cost of owning a soul food restaurant. Cora Faye's is still standing, but a lot of its competitors are gone, and not for lack of appetite.
What did you order?
I had the catfish.
After the pandemic, there's a lot fewer right now. But I believe that things will shake out and they'll be coming back.
Miller admits he was worried about the future of soul food, mostly because of the less than healthy rep it has. But trends like vegan soul food are aiming to keep culture alive and the people who eat it. Culture behind the counter is changing too.
A lot of chefs, especially Black chefs, were distancing themselves from soul food because of the stigma, but now they're embracing it. The sad thing to me, though, is people around the world are eating these foods, and often it's disconnected from Black culture.
To not understand soul food is to not understand Black history. It's as full of flavor as it is pain, resourcefulness, and spirit. For some, it's just food at a swanky restaurant.
They have soul food I can't even pronounce.
But for me, and so many others, it's food that reminds us of our mothers and grandmothers, and it always brings us home.
I do traditional, like my family for generations have made it.
Did anyone order the mac and cheese?
Small breweries are big business in Colorado, and our Michael Abeda takes us on a journey to one Black-owned brewery and aims to reinvent the brew pub experience.
Outworld is a marooned beer cargo trading vessel.
People come to Outworld Brewing in Longmont for the beer, but they stay for the experience. It's an old warehouse that Nick Ellie, brother Brian, and nephew Jeremy converted into an out-of-this-world voyage.
Kind of a mind meld.
They call themselves blurds, that is to say Black nerds who love sci-fi and brewing beer. They realized when they combined their interests, they created something unique.
What we felt was missing from the craft scene.
Of course, they serve beer.
One is Voyager and the other one is Archetype. Archetype is your Trudeau style beer. Voyager, we let who we call Terrans, Earthlings, know that they're drinking a beer that has deviated from the classical style.
But they also have a full kitchen and a theme. Outworld is supposed to look like a spaceship, so nerds of all kinds could come have a drink in a world of fantasy.
We were a bit fearless.
But that doesn't mean they were naive. They knew as black business owners they would face challenges other brewers don't.
It's always going to be access to capital, access to land, access to resources.
Luckily, they had friends in the craft brewing industry who helped them make their fantasy a reality.
But I can't say that's been everyone.
And despite the challenging start, Outworld blasted off and never looked back. Nick and family are glad to be trailblazers for black brewers who may doubt whether they can follow their dreams.
You can, and we out here.
Michael Aveta, covering Colorado First.
Good vibrations fill the air at the studio recording This Podcast. Three friends who grew up in Denver host the show, focused on society and culture with amazing guests. This Podcast highlights the beauty, contributions, and stories of black and brown leaders in Denver, from politicians to DJs to even yours truly.
See the pod as a connector for Denver, and also to provide people with those platforms. There's a lot of folks here in this city, and in this state rather, that are doing a lot of dope things.
Along with shedding light on issues such as displacement of black and brown people, the host also discussed access to opportunity. In March, This Podcast is celebrating its second anniversary and is nearing its 100th episode.
Just ahead, we'll show you the efforts to improve black health by taking care to communities. That and more coming up. A retired Denver doctor is bringing health right into black communities. It's an ongoing effort to take the worry out of healthcare and instead talk about it in a space that people trust, at their barbershop or salon. Michaela White tells us how it works.
Getting your hair done is an intricate process, hours of conversation and laughter. There's nothing quite like the community of sitting in a black salon or barbershop. Everybody has a story, like Jewel Worrell.
I'm a former New Yorker and I grew up on pizza. So we like pizza, Chinese food, and bagels.
And she says she had no idea she had high blood pressure. That's until she met Dr. Terry Richardson right here in this salon chair.
She had me thinking about what I should do and how I should go forward and medically, and things that I should speak with my doctor about.
For the past 11 years, Richardson has helped black communities tackle health issues, including mental health, through the Colorado Black Health Collaborative, giving basic checks and education to every person in the shop.
Clients really welcome us coming into their space. They really think that's a great thing, that people thought to come and meet them where they are.
We get physicians that come in, we get registered nurses and nurses that are experienced with blood pressure and with issues that are going on with our bodies.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of people that were in here and, you know, they ended up getting a screening while they were here and they were almost like borderline stroke. So, you know, it was just good that they were here just to receive that blessing at the time.
And she gives stylists and barbers tools to help their clients.
I helped her to understand a little bit of where her stress was coming from. And I did a breathing exercise with her, and I felt the relief and everything. She wasn't too keen on it, but she enjoyed it.
Richardson says the goal is empowerment, so customers can leave looking good and feeling good too.
You have so many people in the community that don't have health care, you know, so it's a win-win for everybody.
And there's 14 shops in total that Dr. Richardson and the Colorado Black Health Collaborative visit.
For more than 70 years, black professional women with Denver's chapter of the Links Incorporated have joined together to make a difference. The Links Incorporated is one of the nation's oldest service organizations. The Links devote thousands of hours a year to community service with initiatives like supporting literacy in elementary school and taking kids on excursions to the mountains. The organization has also made game-changing donations to the Center for African American Health and the Blair Caldwell Library.
If you think back 70 years ago and what the African American community was facing, it took a lot of courage to stand up and say, we're going to gather these women together to make a difference in the lives of people of African descent.
The Links Girl Fierce initiative works to promote health and self-esteem in young women. There are more than 60 members in the Denver chapter of the Links and 17,000 members nationwide.
Coming up, learn about important steps being taken to preserve Black history in Colorado. That and more coming up. Colorado Coloradans love to get out and explore our beautiful state. But for Black Americans in the Jim Crow era, road trips weren't so simple. As Kennedy Cook reports, History Colorado will soon hit the road to explore the places that have been welcoming Green Book sites.
We camped and we traveled a lot. A lot of it was camping. My mom had a Green Book. I didn't really know she had it until one day I found it at home.
Films capture the Greenwood family's travels during the 1950s, experiences Jim Greenwood recalls as some of the most rewarding of his youth.
It allowed us to realize how much more of a world there was than just our own block, our own neighborhood, our own town.
But it was a time when African American travelers faced being turned away or threatened.
We passed gas stations. We would get into a town and say, well, maybe we're sleeping in the car tonight.
Segregation was not going to stop Jim's parents from exploring America with their children. Bill Greenwood, a budget director at Laurie Air Force Base, and Marie, the first Black tenured teacher in Denver public schools. With the help of guides like these, the Greenwoods traveled the country.
And there was always a transition period to find the right place. Again, I was very young, so I didn't really know all of the process that they went through. But you knew there was something going on.
Jim remembers one day in Utah. The day he discovered boysenberry ice cream, something scary was also happening.
I rarely ever saw my mother cry. Mom cried that night. Because evidently, and I found out much later, that basically Dad couldn't find any place for us to stay.
Bill felt compelled to carry a credential, a letter from Colorado Governor Bill McNichols.
So he used his letter, and evidently that letter allowed us to not only get into a motel, to get into a motel where we were welcomed, and we were allowed to stay that night, and we're allowed to eat at the restaurant there.
And now, with a grant from the National Park Service, History Colorado will study dozens of places that welcome Black travelers before the passage of the Civil Rights Act.
Such an important early history in our state. Too often it's portrayed from the perspective of white Americans of the time. So to bring this additional perspective on, I think is really critical.
This is the first statewide initiative in Colorado's history to focus exclusively on African American travel and resources. And it's something Jim Greenwood salutes.
Honor those entities, those facilities that said, no, you're welcome. I mean, honor them.
I'm Kennedy Cook, covering Colorado First.
Now to an effort to bring the largest Black homestead in the state back to life. The U.S. Department of the Interior is studying whether to designate Deerfield as part of the National Park System. Deerfield was about 30 miles southeast of Greeley, and in December, Congress approved the Deerfield Study Act. The legislation directs federal authorities to study the national significance of the site, a crumbling series of old buildings pieced together what used to be a once thriving community. Deerfield was a town designed to produce and empower.
Saturday nights, people would come dancing. So you have Black people and white people on the same dance floor having fun. At the same time, in Denver, the Ku Klux Klan is picking up.
O.T. Jackson, one of the most powerful Black men in Colorado history, created Deerfield as a way to give other Black Coloradans the opportunity to own the land they worked.
Just ahead, they came to our state to serve our nation in the armed forces, why they couldn't resist the urge to call Colorado home. That and more coming up. Our state's military installations draw a population that reflects the country.
For African Americans, service to the country is often a pathway to opportunity. Many Black families who serve at Fort Carson, Peterson Space Force Base, or the Air Force Academy decide to call Colorado home when it comes to time to retire. That's the story of the Brown family, who decided to stay after tours around the country and Europe. Johnny Brown says he found communities here more integrated.
And here there was no division. So I think, for me, that was the number one selling point. People are people. If you can afford to live there, you live there.
According to the U.S. Census, more than 16% of the Fort Carson community is African American, whereas 5% of the current service corps at the base is Black. Finding community, good jobs, and schools are among other reasons Black families choose to settle here.
Elevating Black voices is something we're proud to do year-round. Celebrating stories of our history and the contributions of Black Coloradans takes more than a month.
And we want to hear your stories as well. Please contact us at CBS News Colorado. Thank you so much for joining us.
And happy Black History Month.